I can't believe I'm finally going to get to say these two words, but Black Hitler.
Welcome to Tairimo Boys Podcast. I'm your host, Cody. With me in second chair is the boy who regularly has run ins with killer vegetables. It's Jeremy.
I'm gonna juice them all.
Just don't drink them.
No, no.
With me in third chair is the boy who's never having tomato soup ever again. It's Ryan.
Uh,
Not even with the grilled cheese, Ryan.
no.
He'll take the salad. It's time for another B list, boys. And today we're reviewing the cult classic hit, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. So, Jeremy, is this an art movie?
God damn it. God damn it. I knew this was gonna come up. No, it is not an art movie. I'm still gonna argue that Rubber wasn't either. Go watch our Rubber review if you
That
haven't
one's not an art movie. That was a damn art movie.
seen it. No, it was not. It's still B list.
But Killer Tomatoes, this is one of the most well-known B-list movies up there at Killer Clowns. It's got the usual B-list stuff,
Tip
schlock.
titties.
Yeah, no boo bonanza today, folks.
We needed it so bad too.
But Jeremy, give me your first thoughts.
Boys, I have not seen this movie before. Cody, when you suggested it to me, I was like, what the is this? It is probably one of the silliest movies I've ever seen, but I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Ryan, first thoughts.
When you said you wanted to watch this movie and I just saw one still from it, I was like, oh God, this is going to be a tough sit. I'm going to hate this. I loved it.
Welcome to B-List, boys.
It's a cult
Good to be
classic,
here.
Ryan.
I know.
I'm not having you sit through Jurassic Triangle.
No, we won't do that one.
Thank
No.
you, by the way.
Yeah.
You do that on your
Already
own
listened to
time.
your review.
As for me, I love this movie, and I'm gonna get a little bit into this here in a bit, but this reminds me of another movie from around this time frame. So while I was watching this movie pretty early on, I was like, this movie reminds me of Airplane.
Yeah, I got Naked Gun vibes from it at one point.
Yeah, it's got that
But
old
yeah,
Leslie Nielsen like feel to it.
I can see
yeah.
that.
And the surprising thing is, I went and looked up like audience scores on this. Like audience, when this movie came out, audience hated it, and then Airplane came out 2 years later, and audiences and reviewers both love that movie. And I don't see why they don't like both of them because it's literally the exact same type of humor.
And what's not to love about this movie? I mean, seriously, it's goofy as hell, but it's so fun.
And for anyone unfamiliar with the movie, it's like I said, it's an airplane-esque comedy where there's like I guess they're alien tomatoes or something. And
Is that really ever explained besides that?
not really.
No?
I think it might have been like GMO or something, but it really wasn't that explained. But just regular tomatoes start attacking people,
It's like
and
the bad guy of the movie like grew these tomatoes, but it's never like really explained.
well, I think he just figured out how to control it. But yeah, government has to find a way to stop them. So here's a question for you: did either of you boys look into the budget of this movie?
Negative.
No, but it's probably the same amount I have in my wallet right now.
you, you wish. So the budget on this movie was 100,000.
Yeah, I definitely wish.
Now here's a little fun fact: 60,000 of that was spent on that helicopter that crashed at the beginning of the movie.
Oh my god, that f***ing helicopter. Okay. That's one of my favorite scenes too. That helicopter. So as it crashes, it like looks like a legit helicopter crashing. They cut the scene and then they add in another scene of the helicopter actually exploding. I'm like,
That helicopter legitimately crashed.
yeah, it was awesome.
I was watching that scene. I was like, I saw like the tail dip too low and the propeller hit the ground and break off, and I was like, wait, is it? Did that seriously happen? Is this scripted? And like the thing started spinning out of control, but that wasn't originally supposed to happen in the movie, and they just kind of ran with it.
They did well with it. But it was hilarious when they cut that they needed to make it more dramatic and they made it explode.
But they made it work. It's like, oh, kamikaze tomatoes. Should we check on the pilot? He's fine. Imagine blowing 60% of your budget in the first few minutes of the movie. And you know what the good thing about this movie is? It's one of these B-list movies that knows it's bad and plays into it.
Oh, Lord, do they play into it. And that's what I love so much about the movie. It's what's that word you use, Cody? Campy.
I don't know, is that the word I use?
Well, that's what you use for Mr. Freeze when we were talking about our Batman review.
Well, that's
Like
Christopher
campy
Reeves.
schlocky.
That's your older Batman speed. I guess it works here.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's the term that kept coming in my mind. I was like, how do you describe this movie? Campy, fun, silly.
Yeah, it's a lot like
Wait,
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I mean, they just take a crazy idea and they run with it. Now, Killer Clowns is more of a little bit of action horror, but this just goes full airplane esque humor. So I have to ask the question, boys, are tomatoes vegetables or fruits? And you are not allowed to quote the movie on this.
Damn it. It's a fruit.
it's a fruit. I quote that. Never mind. Come on.
Yeah, there's a quote in the movie that you're not allowed to say in current year.
There's a lot of things in this movie that we're not allowed to say in current year.
But here's the thing. So tomatoes biologically they are fruits, but in the 1980s, the Supreme Court ruled that they're vegetables due to the way that they're used. So you boys lose due to technicality. Now I have to ask you boys, what was your favorite scene?
Ooh. Where to start? All right, the one in particular when the generals were all giving that like the generals in the tiny room.
That's yeah, that's my favorite scene too.
It's just so goofy. It's like every one of them that had to speak. They don't have anywhere to stand, so they have to crawl over the table just to like make themselves known.
That scene just machine guns jokes at you. The first general in the room sits like in the chair right next to the door, so everyone's have to climb all over the place just to get around him.
That's my favorite scene. And it just kept going. It felt like a Family Guy joke at one point.
But I was thinking more like old Simpsons, where they're all screwing around, talking, and you've got like the Japanese scientist who's like badly dubbed over on purpose.
Oh, badly. Yeah.
And then the joke, which I said you were not allowed to quote, and but my favorite scene was whenever he's like moving around, he hits like a picture of the USS Arizona and knocks it in the water. For anyone unfamiliar, the USS Arizona was one of the ships sunk at Pearl Harbor.
That was easily my favorite scene. Easily.
But that's the kind of humor that you could expect out of this movie. What about you, Ryan?
Same. I got Naked Gun.
I knew.
That's the one I got Naked Gun vibes out of. Or crawling over each other just to sit down.
You know, as soon as I saw that scene, I knew exactly. I was like, this is going to be our favorite scene. We're all going to agree on this.
I don't know. I thought maybe someone's gonna say like one of the musical numbers that they somehow placed in this movie.
Okay, those were fun. We'll give those, runner up, but no. That it was the generals in the war room.
Give an honorable mention because I am such a comic book nerd to the scene where a reporter goes up to Lois and goes, "Hi, Lois," and Lois goes, "Hi, Clark."
Just
Just walks
honorable
away.
mention.
That doesn't-
Superman takes off.
Yeah, he takes off like off screen.
Off
and
screen.
The guys like just watched looking.
That's a very good honorable mention. I'll agree with that.
I also like the master disguise the main senator guy had on his team. Where the guy's dressing up like Hitler. He's black and he's dressing up like Hitler, and like
And Finletter wants to kill him.
yeah, the paratrooper's like, it's Hitler. The guy's clearly black. And then eventually he ends up getting himself killed because he's like disguised as a tomato and he's eating something. It's like, can you pass the ketchup? They like turn on him. It's like, uh-oh. And I do have to say, you know how we're always complaining, boys.
Always. That's what we do.
Did you boys like feel like the whole paratrooper joke like overstayed its welcome, like way past?
Again, I felt like a lot of this was like Family Guy jokes. They just overstayed their welcome for some time. But I loved Finletter. And actually, I'm going to go out there and say he's probably my favorite character.
Really?
Yeah. He was stupid and goofy, but he's fun as hell.
Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Well, my first thought is with Jeremy referencing Family Guy, I kind of wish there were Conway Twitty jokes peppered throughout this thing.
No, you
You
don't.
and me both.
No, you don't.
Yes.
Actually, no, I don't. God, I hated that joke. And yeah, I did think it overstayed its welcome. I like to complain, so.
What we do.
I mean, honestly, you're not coming to this movie for the characters.
No, not at all.
I can't really remember anyone's name in the movie. You're just coming here for like the machine gunning humor.
That's what makes a good B-list movie. Besides titties, but we didn't have any of this.
You just get big fat tomatoes.
They're terrified of horrible music. What was the name of the album?
Oh, I've got that written down. Puberty love, and
yes.
I
Oh,
I think it's like made up.
that was so painful to listen to. I feel for the tomatoes. I know why they ran away.
They were just trying to make an annoying song. Kind of like a
They
silly thing. And something else I liked was like when the whole team was like driving around, they couldn't use like FBI or anything, but they had like FBI, the whatever parody of it was, unmarked
FIA,
car
I
on the
think.
side.
Yep.
Just
That was so goofy too. Like the elite squad that they came up with. I had no idea what was going on. Speaking of which, did we ever see what happened to the scuba guy? I don't
no,
remember his name.
nope.
He jumps in the fountain, and that was the last time we ever see him, right?
Yes, that's correct. I think they might have probably
I was
cut him
racking
out
my brain.
due to time or something.
So whatever happened to the scuba guy? At least we saw what happened to the swim girl, the Olympic.
Yeah, for anyone at home, they assemble like just a completely ridiculous team, and the team doesn't even make any sense. You got a scuba diver, you got an Olympic swimmer, and they're like in the middle of like farmland, so this doesn't even come into effect. So the scene where he's swimming in the fountain, they didn't have a permit for that, and whenever you're looking and the people are just looking like confused at him, those were like just normal people that were caught up in the filming.
I would be confused too. Although shout out to the Olympic eating the steroid cereal. That was pretty awesome.
How do you think you get gold, Jeremy?
Steroids, PEDs,
All right. Do you know what time it is, boys?
not boobs in action, or not.
Well, there is going to be some action, but it's not boobs
Yeah.
in action.
Not boobs bonanza.
It's time for some boys in action.
There we go.
So, Jeremy, if you were in this movie, where would you die?
I'm not dying by a tomato. I'm juicing the hell out of them. If I was to die, it would be the lake scene, like the Jaws joke that they made.
Yeah, I had to, whenever I was watching that scene, it's like, was Jaws already out yet? I'm guessing it was, but yeah. There's a little fun fact about that scene. The boy that was on like the boat thing, his name is Dana Ashbrook, and apparently he was a big star in Twin Peaks.
I'll be damned.
And another thing is George Clooney actually got his start in like one of the sequels to this movie.
That's a good fun fact.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, people at home, this this movie got 3 sequels and a cartoon.
I know. I was actually just surprised that I just looked up before we started this review as how many sequels there were. I had no idea.
Yeah, this so like I said, the budget was 100K. It made like $500,000, so it was a financial success.
I can see why they kept going with it.
The main expense besides the helicopter is probably tomatoes. And
But yeah, I would have done the lake
and
with the chicks.
I was hoping for Boo Bonanza there, but I didn't get
You and me both. There was quite some worthy contenders there for Boo Bonanza.
So come on, just let a single tit pop out.
Come on, I mean, at least one.
But
Look
anyways,
at those juicy tomatoes.
Ryan, where would you die?
I wouldn't. I would make it to the end. And if I were to die, I wouldn't. I would make it to the end.
I'm so proud of you.
Fair enough. I think I'd make it to the end too, because like at the beginning, whenever the first lady gets attacked by a tomato, I was like, why don't you just stomp on that thing?
Which they do at the end.
Yeah, that's kind of how they beat him at the end. Is they play that music, and while they're incapacitated, they just start stomping on them.
I would have taken Finletter's sword and just fought all the tomatoes.
It's so ridiculous. He's carrying around that cavalry sword the whole movie.
Absolutely ridiculous. The most ridiculous character in the entire movie. Easily.
And you know what I was thinking when I was watching this? There ain't a whole lot of tomatoes in the movie,
There's not. I thought the same thing too.
but it's mostly just filled with humor and like all the government characters just trying to stop all this or suppress it. And
I mean, there's pretty much a world war against the tomatoes, which the government loses.
well, they ultimately win, but
Ultimately, Lynn, yes, because they discover the horrible music, but
reminds me of Mars Attacks. That's how they beat the Martians. And you boys probably noticed this, but there seemed to be like a lot of political commentary in this movie.
oh yes,
Mostly how useless the government is.
absolutely. And I'm here for it.
It was really
When
well
was this
done.
movie made?
78.
78. See, they were well ahead of their time.
No, government's always been useless. It's just more useless now than ever.
Yeah, it's more public now these days.
So before I start past the topic, I just want to mention that I think we've exhausted just about all the cult classic B-list movies.
Oh, we've got another. We've got another. I got it up my sleeve.
I was thinking maybe the Toxic Avenger series, but
Oh, that'd be a fun one.
and I can tell you that has boobs in it.
Yeah, all right, I'm down.
Jeremy, you know that you were over at my place, so I was watching those one time. But
Yeah.
after that, I
It's
think
true.
it's Jurassic Triangles from here on out.
So we could use some B-list boys suggestions, viewers at home, preferably with over-the-top violence, titties, gore.
But anyways, Jeremy, pass talk about on to you.
Okay, favorite character. If you can remember it. I can't remember their
I
names.
was thinking.
Never Finletter.
I don't know. There's, but most of the characters like average at best. But
They really are.
Ryan, you want to take a shot at this, or
It's a tough one.
I can't believe I'm finally going to get to say these two words, but Black Hitler.
that? Okay, I'll say the Master of Disguise guy. Yeah, he was probably the
He
best
was
character.
He was great. When he got himself killed was awesome too.
Anything else?
Speaking of what reminded me of Family Guy jokes, you can't tell me that the end when Dixon and the reporter lady actually reveal their first names and they keep going back and forth saying Mason and Lois the whole time, and then they come up with that little dance number. Can't tell me that didn't feel like a Family Guy joke. Mason, Lois, Mason, Lois. And it just went on and on. It's like, God damn.
Trying to eat up your time.
Yeah, they did. That's all I got.
Ryan, pass topic on to you.
I got nothing.
Oh, okay. I got one more. The assassination
Really?
attempt on
Sorry.
Dixon. I lost my shit at that scene. When the bad guy shot the 3 innocent bystanders that were walking by Dixon.
I didn't even notice them. I don't know. That's
It was so
pretty
silly.
good. And then you have like the car chase with the parachute was caught up in the car and he's getting dragged behind.
And then both cars are breaking down and they're still chasing each other.
Apparently that scene where like the cars are broken down and barely moving, that's like a famous scene that's been parodied a lot of times.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it worked. I was there for it.
I think this might have been the first movie that did it, and then people stole from it.
It was so goofy, but I love it. Sorry, Ryan, to jump in there, but I had to mention that one.
It's all right.
All right.
I was just gonna say favorite tomato just to be a dick.
I was thinking of asking that. I like tomato number 348, so it hit the window when he was driving.
I'm going with that tomato too, or the tomato that like was visibly angry from the song and put on earmuffs. That'd be my other favorite tomato.
All right, Jeremy, final thoughts?
This movie is goofy as hell, but I'm here for it. I loved every bit of it.
Ryan, final thoughts?
It's silly, but it's fun.
Yep. It's just a completely ridiculous B-list movie. And it's very easy to find a copy, let me tell you that.
But is it Tairimo Boys certified fun?
That you know it's Tairimo Boys certified fun. What kind of stupid question is that?
Stamp of approval.
Yeah, check this out. Definitely won't be disappointed.
Oh, you might be, but you're gonna have a good time. So watch it anyway.
You won't be disappointed. All right, let's scale this bad boy. So we've mentioned our 2 scaling techniques both in this review so far. So Jeremy, on a scale of Killer Clowns from Outer Space to Jurassic Triangle, where'd you rank this puppy?
Jesus Christ! Right underneath Killer Clowns. There's no beating Killer Clowns.
Fair enough. Ryan?
Same. Also beneath Killer Clowns.
I think I'll put it like right at Killer Clowns because they're both 2 different movies. They're like monster movies, but this one's a little bit more ridiculous while Killer Clowns is a little bit more serious.
That's fair.
But they're totally both worth seeing.
Absolutely.
And while I was watching this, kept thinking about that old man who really likes circuses. All right, everyone. Thank you for another episode of Tairimo Boys Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, telling us what you would do if you found a killer tomato. And don't forget to ring the motherfucking bell. Stay tuned for more episodes.